Hey, this is Mr. Word. I'm going to talk about number 16 from the 2021 8th grade Math MCAS. This one's about transversals and parallel lines, and also a little bit about triangles and how a straight line is 180 degrees. So we have a couple parallel lines, line Q and line R, and we're told they're parallel, and they're intersected by a transversal line C. We can also make note that GP forms another transversal. They haven't said that, but that is true. Now, here's the thing about transversals and parallel lines. They form groups of congruent angles. So I can mark, so we know this angle is needed, and it is going to be the same as this angle, and the same as this angle, and the same as this angle. So those are called, those are all congruent. That forms this zigzag pattern. The interior two are called pairs of alternate interior angles. The external ones that are alternating sides of the transversal are external, alternating exterior angles. And they're all congruent. Okay, but that doesn't help us directly, but it could help us think about another pair of angles that are congruent, which will help us. So this angle here forms an alternate interior angle with this unknown, which is one of the ones we want. It's JGP, I believe. Yes, JGP. So now we know that JGP is 40 degrees because it's got to be the same as GPV. Okay, here's another thing about naming angles. The middle letter is the vertex or corner or fold point of the angle. So JGP means the angle that has G as its folding point or its vertex. So we've got that one. So we know the measure of JGP is 40 degrees. So we're good with one of them. We have three that we need to find. Okay, since we know those two, we know 40 degrees here. We also can find this one. This one over here. Okay, that one plus this 40-degree one make a straight line, which means they make a straight angle, which means they add up to 180 degrees. So this one, GPT, which is here, that one is going to be 140 degrees because 40 plus 140 is 180. So that one's not too bad to find. So let's find GPT is 140. That's one of our answers. Now we've got two down, one to go. And that one is this angle here, this red one. All right, so if this is 40 and that's 73, together that makes 113. So this one has to be 180 minus 113. Minus 113. So what's 180 minus 113? It's, well, I'm going to borrow from the 8 to make a 10 here. So that's going to be a 7. And that's a 10. Okay, so that makes a 7. And that makes a 6. So 67 degrees. So this is 67 degrees. And so we find where FGV is 67 degrees, and that's our answer. And there we go. We're all done. Hope that was helpful. I'm going to go ahead and I think do one more that has to do with geometry, and that's a volume question. So I'm going to pause. So we're going to look at 19. We have a candle in the shape of a cylinder. And the candle has a diameter of 6 inches and a height of 5 inches. And what is the volume of the candle? Use 3.14 for pi. All right, let's go and find the formula for the volume of a cylinder. in which we go to ye old reference sheet. This will be something that'll be a link, of course, on MCAS. You can open it up and take a look at the formulas, but find volume. There's volumes, okay? And the volumes, cube, sphere, cone, right circular cylinder, that's the one we want. This formula will work for a non-right circular cylinder as well, but we're just dealing with that. So volume is pi times radius squared times height. There's other information on this page that's useful, the Pythagorean theorem, circle area formulas, circumference formula, etc. Okay, I'm going to pause and go back to 19. So our formula for volume, again, was equals pi times radius squared times height. So we're going to multiply all those things. And for pi, we're going to use 3.14. Now, what are we going to use for radius? Okay, and what are we going to use for height? Okay, so copy all that down here. Okay, the height we've been given. The height is 5 inches. So we'll replace height with 5. The radius we have not been given directly. We've been given the diameter. But the diameter is all the way across, whereas the radius is halfway across a circle. The radius, think, is it's the line that radiates out from the center of the circle to the edge. So it's half of the way, which means it's half of 6. So the radius is 3 instead of 6. So we just have to work out what all this is. So V is going to equal 3.14 times 9 times 5, and that's going to be 3.14 times 45. Okay, so now we got to figure out what is 45 times 3.14. Well, 45 times 3 45 times 3 is going to be 135. So we're somewhere above 135. It looks to me like 94.2 is right out. We can cross that out, and we can ignore that one. So we just need to work out what 45 times 3.14 is. So let's just do that calculation. 3.14 times 45. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and work that out. So 5 times 4 is 20. Carry the 2 over here. So 5 times 1 is 5 plus the 2. So that's a 7. Okay. And beware, that does look like the end might be 7, but we're going to be adding another row. So it might not stay a 7. And then 5 times 3 is 15. So 15. I'll bring it over a little bit. And we know that we're going to have 2 decimal places. Okay. Now we're going to do the 4 times 3.14. I'll put a 0 at the end. Okay, because we're now at the tens place. So 4 times 4, that's a 16, and carry the 1. 4 times 1 is 4. Put a 5, so 4 plus 1 is 5. And then 4 times 3 is 12. Okay, so we're going to put the decimal there, and let's line everything up. So we've got these two numbers we've got to add up. Okay. All right, so add the zeros. The zeros are just zeros. So I'm just going to be worrying about the 7 and the 6. That's 13. Put the decimal there. Carry the 1 up to the 5 plus 5. So that's 10 plus 1. That's 11. Okay, carry the 1 to the 1 plus 2. That's 3 plus 1. That's 4. Okay, it's looking pretty good for B right now. And then that's a 1. So the volume is 141.3. And that is our cubic inches, of course. So that's our answer. And I hope that was helpful.